Heartwarming discovery. After a poor waitress reveals her mom's ring, a billionaire's life changes forever. Every morning at the Blue Plate Diner, the day began with the hiss of the coffee machine and the sweet aroma of pancakes wafting through the air. Sarah, a 32-year-old waitress with tired eyes but an indomitable spirit, poured coffee for the regulars who greeted her with familiar smiles. Life in this small Pennsylvania town was tough, but it was her daughter, Emily, that filled her with purpose. Every crisp morning, Sarah would remind herself that her late mother's heirloom ring, a worn-out band with a delicate stone, represented the strength and love that had shaped her life. That fateful day started like any other. As the sun peeked through the diner's window, a man walked in. Jack, a tech mogul. He slid into a booth, his mind racing with corporate stress, the weight of wealth and ambition tightening around him like a steel band. His eyes barely registered the flickering neon sign overhead that welcomed him into the heart of this small town. Yet when Sarah approached his table with a slice of her mom's apple pie, something shifted. "Here you go, hon. Hope it's just the comfort you need," she said, her warm smile breaking through the stress that clouded his face. Jack barely returned the smile as he dug into his pie. Yet, it was then that Sarah found the courage to share the story of her ring, how her mom had worn it proudly through years of struggle, symbolizing their family's sacrifices. Jack listened intently, not out of politeness, but because her words echoed a resilience that was missing in his high-stakes world. In the next hour, as plates clattered and laughter rang in the air, an unexpected spark ignited between them. "What if we partnered up?" Jack proposed, the idea of revitalizing the town sprouting from the warmth of her spirit. "You know the struggles of families here. Together, we could create real change." Sarah's heart fluttered with hope, but doubt soon clawed its way in. Could she trust a billionaire who lived a life so far removed from her own? Emily deserved so much. But would the community accept her? Whispers of discontent filled the diner as the townsfolk pondered the unlikely partnership. What did a big-shot businessman and a waitress from the diner know about each other's worlds? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue with her heart pounding. Sarah threw herself into the project. Yet with each step, the shadows of doubt loomed larger. Jack's lavish lifestyle clashed with the reality of struggling families around her. Just when hope seemed tangible, financial difficulties began to pile up. Donations dwindled, and Jack's business interests pulled him further away from the community's needs. Caught in an emotional storm, Sarah began to confront the very systems that oppressed families like hers. Could they really make this work? Just as she felt the fragile trust between her and Jack strengthen, community tension threatened to crack it wide open. Standing on the edge of significant change, the question loomed: would she risk it all for the cause she believed in, or play it safe, retreating to the life she knew? As the project faced a breaking point, the stakes couldn't be higher. Would a waitress and a billionaire find common ground, or would their different worlds push them apart? The morning sun cast bright streaks of light through the diner's window, highlighting the wear in the floorboards beneath Sarah's feet. She prepared a fresh pot of coffee, each drop reflecting her swirling thoughts. Doubt and hope were fighting for dominance in her heart, and the diner's familiar smells did little to calm her racing mind. Jack had promised to help, but was he really different from the others that had come through this town, making big boasts without a hint of follow-through? As she served her customers with a forced smile, Sarah replayed their last conversation, a whirlwind of dreams mingling with the harsh realities they faced. Soon after their partnership was announced, the community buzzed with disbelief. How could she trust someone like him? The door chimed, drawing her attention. A group of locals entered, heads low, their chatter hushed like a sudden chill. They were the backbone of her world: working parents, retirees, and teenagers who all relied on her for more than just food. With each passing day, the project felt more fragile, and their skepticism weighed heavily on her like a thick fog. "Hey, Sarah," called Betty, a retired schoolteacher, as she settled into her usual booth. "What is this I hear about you and that businessman? You really think he cares about our little town?" A lump formed in Sarah's throat. "He wants to help us, Betty. He sees the potential here. We just have to give him a chance." Betty shook her head, her frown deepening. "Darling, I've seen men like him come and go, promising the moon and stars. What do they ever deliver?" Her words sparked a fire in Sarah, the heat radiating deep within her. She felt a familiar strength swell inside, just like her mother had taught her. "I know he is different, Betty. He listened to my story. He understands." Just then, Jack walked in, his presence looming large with confident strides. His tailored suit was a stark contrast to the diner's homey atmosphere. Eyes turned, some narrowed, others hopeful. He approached Sarah, a gentle determination in his gaze. "Good morning, Sarah. I've spoken with some potential investors who share our vision," he announced, the energy in the room shifting. "They want to help build a community center here. A place for kids, for families." For a heartbeat, the diner held its breath. Was this truly the breakthrough they all needed? Yet, whispers began around the room, cautious voices questioning his motives. Sarah felt the ground shaking beneath her resolve. Could Jack deliver what he promised? Would the townsfolk ever trust him? The way they looked at him, it felt like they couldn't see the potential she glimpsed. "I know it'll take time for folks to come around, but I want to be honest." Jack spoke, his voice steady. "Let us work together. Let us prove them wrong." As he stood beside her, Sarah caught the essence of his conviction, but doubt still clouded her heart. Would they really join forces for something beyond their differences? Or were they just two isolated souls destined to fail? The questioning raised a chilling uncertainty within her. Would she have the courage not only to take the chance for herself, but for Emily as well? Just then, a loud crash interrupted her thoughts. A tray slipped from a customer's hands, the plates and cups spilling across the floor like broken dreams. In that moment, everything felt uncertain. Could they rebuild what was shattered? Could they fix not just the diner's spilled meal, but also the connection between their worlds? With all eyes now on her, Sarah faced the mounting pressure. Would she stand up for her vision, or would fear keep her rooted in her old life? "It's time to decide," she whispered to herself, as she dared to look back at Jack, who seemed to be waiting for her answer. But was she ready to give it? The silence that filled the diner felt like the calm before a storm. What would happen next? Would she take the leap, or pull back, just as everything began to change? The moment hung like a thick cloud, heavy with anticipation. Sarah felt her heart pulse in her throat as she glanced back at Jack. His eyes searched hers, filled with a mix of determination and something softer that almost felt like vulnerability. The sounds of the diner faded into the background, the clatter of dishes, the murmur of gossip cascading over promises and doubt. All she could hear was the quickening rhythm of her heart. Was this what it meant to take a risk? "Sarah?" Jack's voice sliced through her thoughts. "It's okay if you're not ready. I don't want to rush you." But before he could finish, she found her voice. "No, it's not that. The truth was turbulent. Deep down, she wanted to believe in him, to believe in this bold vision that could lift not just her, but everyone in this little town. Yet every concern floated back, those whispers, the skepticism dwelling in the corners of the diner. Could she let go of her fears, or would she cling to the comfort of the past? Suddenly, she felt a pang of longing as Emily's sweet face appeared in her mind's eye. How often had she dreamt of a better life for her daughter? This could be that chance. I think we can make it work," she said, almost breathlessly. The words felt like a lifeline thrown into turbulent waters. As soon as the promise left her lips, the energy shifted again, this time electrifying the air around them. Jack's eyes lit up, gratitude blooming in his expression. "Really? You mean it?" Sarah nodded, a weak smile breaking through her uncertainty. "But we have to show them that it's more than just talk. We need to prove ourselves." "Absolutely. We can start small. Community meetings, sharing this vision one step at a time. Slowly bring everyone in," he replied, a new spark igniting in his voice. She felt renewed strength at his words, a warmth creeping through her body as she began to picture her vision unfolding. The community center buzzing with laughter and activity, the diner brimming with life and hope. But even with this flicker of optimism, the echoes of doubt still rang true. "And what if we fail?" she asked, a nagging thought lurking. Jack paused, his expression turning serious. "Then we learn, Sarah. Every setback brings us one step closer. Together, we will get through it. The confidence in his voice resonated with her, yet a knot tightened in her stomach. What if this was just another empty promise? Before she could spiral again, Betty's voice interjected from across the room. You two really think you can change things around here? All of this. You're dreamers. A few patrons chimed in with half-hearted chuckles, but Sarah recognized the desperation mixed with encouragement in their comments. They needed something to believe in anything, even if it seemed impossible. The pressure was mounting, and she had to show them they were all in this together. Betty, I know it sounds crazy, but we're going to try. We can't just sit back and watch life pass us by. Not anymore, she declared, feeling the intensity rise within her that a silence fell over the diner. Even the air seemed to thicken with tension as eyes turned towards her, some hopeful, some skeptical. Each gaze was a mirror reflecting her own worries. With barely a breath, she took a step forward. We want to create a place for our kids, a place where dreams turn into a reality. Will you help us? The weight of her question floated between them, fragile and waiting. Jack stepped beside her, his presence a grounding force as he looked out at the gathering crowd. The murmurs of conversation began to rise, but would it be enough to galvanize them? Just as she thought they might be gaining traction, the door swung open again. In stepped an unexpected figure, a town council member with a stern look etched into their face. Sarah's heart plummeted. Here stood the final judge of their hopes. What are you planning? The council member demanded, their voice slicing through the growing murmur. Standing at that moment, all hope felt like a high-wire act. Would they fall or find their balance? Sarah's heart raced as she prepared to speak again. Would this be the day they finally started building their future, or the moment all their dreams came crashing down? The gaze of the council member pierced through the crowd, and Sarah felt every eye in the diner turn to her. The air felt electric, thick with anticipation and trepidation. Jack shifted slightly beside her, a silent show of support, and it fueled her resolve. We want to create something that truly brings our community together, Sarah started, her voice trembling but steady. We believe in a place where our children can thrive. We want to give them opportunities that we didn't have. The council member's brow furrowed in disbelief. And you think you can do this? With no real plan? No funding? The words were sharp, cutting through her fragile excitement. But she wasn't ready to back down. Every great project starts with a belief, she countered, feeling the heat rise in her chest. We might not have everything figured out yet, but we have passion. People here want change. We just need a chance. Around her, the patrons began to stir. Some nodded in agreement, their faces reflecting a flicker of hope. Others crossed their arms, clearly still skeptical. The murmurs began to grow, voices whispering the possibilities of what could be. While it's easy to mock the dreamers, an older man from the back chimed in. It takes courage to stand up and say you want something better for our kids. Jack's hand brushed against Sarah's back, igniting a little spark of courage within her. It felt like heat radiating through her body, an energy that began to spread. She took a deep breath, feeling the eyes of the room on her, daring her to falter. Just think about it. A community center where kids can explore art, science, sports, something that inspires them. She gestured wildly, her heart racing with fervor. Wouldn't that be worth it? The council member's expression softened ever so slightly, just a shift of the mouth, but it was enough to cause a ripple of hope among the crowd. That sounds nice, but what about the bills? The maintenance? The member pressed, attempting to rein in the moment. I know every idea comes with challenges. Jack jumped in, urgency in his tone. But we're ready to tackle this together. We'll put our own time in, hosting bake sales, fundraisers, whatever it takes to get this off the ground. A woman from a nearby booth, someone Sarah had seen many times but never truly noticed, raised a hand. I have some ideas for events we can host. We could run a car wash, or a flea market. Exclamations of agreement filled the space, ideas flying around like wildfire. Mickey, the diner's cook, chimed in, count me in for pies. All profits for the center. Laughter erupted, lightening the tensioned laughter bubbled up. An almost tangible thought sparked to life in the air. This was a collective dream growing roots. But even in the warmth of hopeful declarations, the council member remained stern. I appreciate your enthusiasm, but excitement won't keep the lights on. Grappling with the truth, Sarah felt her heart sink for a moment. Was this merely a daydream, soon to be stamped out by reality? Before she could express her doubts, someone called out from the back, "What's the worst that could happen? We try and fail, or we try and succeed. I'm in." Cheers erupted, and people stood up, filled with emboldened chants, tossing their weight behind Sarah and Jack's vision. It was chaotic, exhilarating, and it felt like an avalanche of determination. But just as the atmosphere shifted toward optimism, the council member cleared their throat, standing rigidly. "All right then, you've made your point. But you'll need a solid proposal, and I want to see results within a month." The air seemed to hang heavy again, but amidst the tension, Sarah felt a flicker of relief. With a focused glare toward the council member, she affirmed, "We will show you this means something to us, and we will make it happen." The diner erupted in applause, and as Sarah basked in their support, the hard truth settled in. They would need every ounce of effort, every resource they could muster, to turn this spark into a roaring fire. As people began to talk about next steps and brainstorming sessions, Sarah glanced at Jack, their eyes locking for a long moment. They were in this together, and she could feel something shifting inside her, determination rising. But could they really pull it off? The question lingered at the back of her mind like an unanswered prayer. Just as she turned to the crowd to voice her thanks, the front door swung open again. A shadow crossed the threshold, and Sarah's breath caught in her throat. It was someone she hadn't expected. Would this change everything? The figure that stepped into the diner was unmistakable. It was Mrs. Thompson, the town's retired school principal. A woman with a heart as big as her reputation, she had shaped generations of students. But it wasn't just her presence that took Sarah by surprise. It was the urgency etched on her face. As the chatter dwindled, Mrs. Thompson moved through the crowded diner like she was parting the sea. Sarah could see her former teacher's eyes glisten with unshed tears. "Mrs. Thompson?" Sarah asked, catching her breath. "What's wrong?" "Sarah, dear, I heard what you're trying to do," Mrs. Thompson said, her voice strong yet husky with emotion. "I wish I had been here sooner. I wasn't sure if I could still make a difference." But she paused, taking a breath that seemed to steady her. "I want to help." The weight of her words hung in the air, and Sarah felt her heart race. "Really? You want to help?" "Yes, more than you can imagine. That center you're all dreaming of, it's exactly what this town needs. I've seen too many kids slip through the cracks. We need to provide support, love, and education." Mrs. Thompson glanced around at the gathering crowd, pride shining in her eyes. "I want to pledge my time to help you get that plan together. And," she added, "I may even have some connections for funding. People believe in what you're doing, Sarah." The diner erupted in whispers, excitement bubbling over. Before Sarah could fully grasp what was happening, the applause thundered once again, fueled by the possibility of real support. "Thank you. Thank you," Sarah shouted, though she felt overwhelmed. "Every bit of help counts. We'll really need it." Mrs. Thompson stepped closer, her voice lowered, yet filled with sincerity. "I have more than ideas. I have resources too. My late husband and I set aside money for community projects. If you can create a compelling proposal, I may be able to help with funding." A wave of emotions washed over Sarah. Relief, gratitude, and the heavy weight of responsibility blended within her. This wasn't just about dreams anymore. It was tangible, real. "I don't know how to thank you," Sarah whispered, her eyes glistening. "Just promise you'll give it your all." "This town deserves it," Mrs. Thompson replied, returning Sarah's gaze with unwavering support. Jack stepped forward, placing a supportive hand on Sarah's shoulder. The warmth of his presence brought her back from the whirlwind of emotions swirling inside her. "We'll make sure to show everyone that it matters," he affirmed, voice strong with conviction. The whole diner joined in, voices rising in a chorus of agreement. "Count us in. We're all in." As the excitement surged, Sarah turned to the council member. Although still skeptical, there was a hint of curiosity in their eyes. It was a small victory, but it felt monumental. A pit of anticipation settled in Sarah's stomach. They still had a long road ahead, but with allies like Mrs. Thompson and the community rallying behind them, they just might have a chance. The urgency was palpable. Ideas flowed like floodwaters as discussions erupted about who would take on various tasks. There was so much to do, so much passion igniting each conversation that as the crowd began to disperse, Sarah caught a glimpse of Jack's encouraging smile. But just as she felt a wave of optimism wash over her, her phone buzzed in her pocket. The screen lit up, revealing a message from her mother, a reminder of an unresolved issue buried in the past. With a heavy heart, she realized some pieces of her life were about to collide. Would lean into her family history help strengthen the community's future? With a deep breath, she stepped outside, looking to the horizon and feeling the weight of a legacy that could shift everything. Would this new revelation pull them closer together or push them apart? Sarah didn't have the answers yet, but she knew the journey was only just beginning. The cool evening air hit Sarah like a rush of ice water, snapping her back to reality. She pulled out her phone, staring at the message, her mother's words reverberating in her mind like an echo. "We need to talk," it read, and just like that, the magic of the moment dissolved under the weight of the past. What did her mother want? Was it about her father's absence? The way things had ended back then? Sarah couldn't shake the knot forming in her stomach. "Everything okay?" Jack's voice cut through her thoughts. He stepped outside, joining her on the sidewalk. The light from the diner cast shadows on his face, but she could still see the concern etched in his features. "I don't know, it's my mom," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "I think she wants to talk." "About what?" "About everything," she sighed. "About the past, maybe. About my dad. It just feels like everything is colliding." Jack nodded, a frown playing at the corners of his mouth. "You don't have to face it alone, you know," he said, a gentle but steady conviction in his tone. "I know, it's just complicated." She looked away toward the horizon, where the last hints of sunset lingered. A few stars began to peek through the darkening sky. "I thought we were heading in the right direction with the center, and now I just don't know." As she spoke, she felt emotions swell within her. Fear of losing the momentum they had built, trepidation about digging into family wounds, and at the same time, a flicker of hope. Maybe confronting her past could help move forward, not just for her, but for her community too. "You're stronger than you think," Jack said, stepping closer, offering her warmth in the cool night. "Facing whatever's in your past could be the key to unlocking even more." He paused, then added, "And not just for you, maybe for all of us. This town needs you to be whole." Sarah's heart fluttered at his words. The confidence he had in her felt like a lifeline. "You really think so?" "Absolutely. You've already inspired so many people. Just look at what happened in there." He gestured back toward the diner. "That was just the beginning." She nodded, reassured. "You're right." Taking a deep breath, she felt the knot begin to loosen. Maybe my mom is just another step on this journey. The thought of embracing her past, of uncovering the layers she had kept buried, suddenly didn't feel as daunting. It felt like it could give her strength. "Are you going to call her?" Jack asked, his gaze steady and encouraging. Sarah hesitated, then nodded firmly. "Yes, I will. It's time." She pulled up her mother's contact, her thumb hovering over the call button for a moment. Her heart was racing again. "Just remember, you've got people behind you," Jack reminded her. Gathering her courage, she pressed the call button and brought the phone to her ear. As it rang, she felt the warmth of Jack's presence beside her, a reminder that she wasn't facing this alone. The sound of her mother's voice broke through, and Sarah's heart leaped. "Mom?" "Sarah? I didn't expect you to call so soon." The words hung in the air, and Sarah felt the weight of everything hinge on this moment. This wasn't just an ordinary call. This was the beginning of something big. As they talked, she sensed the world around her shift and melt away. Was this the chance to heal old wounds? Or would it lead to more heartache? With each exchange, both fear and hope intertwined. She could feel the tug of deep family secrets surfacing, ready to reshape everything. What truths awaited her this time? Would they strengthen her mission, or would they tear her apart? Only time would tell as the conversation unfolded, and Sarah braced herself for the storm of emotions that lay ahead. "Mom, are you okay?" Sarah asked, her voice tight with concern. "Just caught off guard, I guess," her mother responded, the hesitation hanging like a cloud between them. "It's been a while since we talked." "Yeah, it has," Sarah admitted, taking a shaky breath. "I got your text. You said we need to talk about Dad?" The world around her faded even more, as the weight of her mother's next words sank into her chest. "Yes, Sarah, it's about him. I've been meaning to share some things with you." "Okay," she said slowly, her heart drumming in her ears. "What things?" Her mother sighed deeply, a sound filled with nostalgia and regret. Do you remember the stories I used to tell you? About how I met your father. There are pieces of that story I've never shared. Pieces that were hard to face myself. As her mother's words washed over her, Sarah felt the air thicken. She had grown up with those stories, yet there was always a shadow lurking beneath them. The narratives were filled with laughter, love, but the absence of her father loomed larger than the memories. What do you mean? Sarah pressed, her curiosity piquing. What haven't you told me? Sometimes truth hurts more than lies, her mother revealed, her voice faltering slightly. But it's time you knew what really happened. Your dad didn't just leave us one day. There were reasons, real ones I didn't have the courage to share before. Reasons? Sarah repeated, her heart racing anew. What kind of reasons? Her mother hesitated, and Sarah could almost hear the wheels turning as she prepared to unlock the door to secrets long buried. Your father and I were both young, and things were complicated. His choices, they weren't random. They were driven by fear and promises made with the best intentions. A knot tightened in Sarah's throat. The shadows of her childhood whispers about her father's departure suddenly felt more tangible. Were you happy with him? Did you love him? Yes, I did, her mother said, her voice softening. But sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes it leads to decisions that hurt everyone involved. The weight of those revelations hung in the air. Sarah's mind raced. The truth felt like a two-edged sword. On one end, it might bring understanding. On the other, it could shatter the fragments of memory she had clung to for years. Mom, I just don't understand. All this time I thought he just didn't care. Her mother's silence spoke volumes, a painful acknowledgement of the lost years. I didn't protect you from the truth because I thought it would keep you safe. But it didn't. I see that now. We could have talked about it, Sarah murmured, feeling tears prickle at the corners of her eyes. I wanted to understand. And I wanted to protect you from the hurt, her mother replied. But that's just it. You deserve to know the whole story, even if it means facing painful truths. With each word, Sarah felt a tentative connection stirring between them, like thin threads pulling tight. Would this revelation deepen their bond or drive them further apart? As her mother continued to speak, Sarah's resolve amplified. There were still so many unanswered questions swirling in her heart. What does this mean for us now? For the future? Her mother took a breath, the weight of the moment heavy between them. It means it's time to heal. Together, we can piece together our story. I want to be part of that journey with you. With that, Sarah's heart lifted. The past felt daunting, yet a glimmer of hope began to sparkle in the darkness. They had a chance to rewrite what had been broken. But just as Sarah felt the warmth in her chest, a sudden thought struck her. What if she uncovered even more painful truths? Could she handle whatever lay ahead? Mom, she started to say, just as a knock echoed through the night. Sarah? Jack's voice broke through, sending a shiver down her spine. Everything okay? In that moment, the world shifted again. Here was a storm brewing, a whirlwind of emotions and revelations swirling around her. And just outside this bubble was Jack, offering support and strength. Just how deep did the rabbit hole go? And what awaited her on the other side? Mom, do you want me to? Sarah started, but her mother shook her head. I think we should let him in, she said softly, her eyes flickering toward the door. There was a mix of fear and relief in her voice, as if she too sensed the shift happening between them. Taking a deep breath, Sarah nodded. Okay, let us see what he wants. She moved to the door, her heart pounding louder with each step. She pulled the door open, and Jack stood there, worry etched across his face. Hey, I heard voices. Is everything all right? He asked, his tone laced with concern. The warmth in his gaze made her heart swell, but also twisted her stomach. She wanted to protect him, to shield him from the turmoil building around her. Yeah, we're okay, Sarah replied, forcing a smile that felt shaky. Just talking about family stuff. Jack's eyebrows raised slightly, as if he sensed the weight in the room. Family stuff? Do you want me to come in? As she stepped back to let him in, Sarah felt her mother's presence heavy beside her. Jack walked in, glancing between the two women. There was an underlying tension, and Sarah knew he could feel it. Mom, this is Jack, she introduced, trying to ease the atmosphere. Jack, this is my mom. Her mother offered a tentative smile, but there was an obvious strain in her features. Hello, Jack. It's nice to finally meet you. Same here, Ma am, he replied with a gentle nod. I hope I'm not interrupting anything. No, not at all, Sarah said quickly, needing him to understand they were working through something significant but wanting to protect that space, too. We were just having a conversation. It's sort of a lot. Jack stepped closer, his expression growing serious. If you need space, I can know, Sarah said, her voice a bit too sharp. She softened her tone. I really appreciate you being here. It's just complicated. We were talking about my dad. Jack's eyes darkened a fraction, as if he knew this conversation could shape Sarah in ways he couldn't even imagine. If you want to talk about it, I'm here for you, he said gently, but Sarah could sense the hesitation. Thank you, she whispered, her heart wavering between gratitude and the fear of revealing too much. I might need your support through this. Her mother looked at Sarah, then Jack, deciding to take a step back. This isn't something I want to keep pushing. If you two want to talk, I can know. Please stay, Sarah interrupted. She didn't want to face this alone. There was a strange comfort in sharing the heaviness with both of them. The air felt electric, filled with questions unasked and stories yet untold. So what about your dad? Jack prompted, his voice steady, encouraging Sarah to dive deeper. Taking a breath, she gathered her thoughts. Mom was just telling me that there's more to the story of why he left, that it wasn't just because he didn't care. She glanced at her mom, searching for assurance. Sarah, it's a lot to unpack, her mother interjected gently. And I don't want to overwhelm you. But it might help to share everything. You deserve to know. I want to know, Sarah affirmed, her heart racing. Jack stood, ready to listen, his eyes full of concern and determination to support her through whatever came next. Everything felt fragile, like a cobweb teetering on the edge of destruction. Sarah knew there was no turning back. She was ready, yet terrified. Let us begin, she said, her voice steadying amidst the chaos swirling inside her. Just then, another knock echoed through the room. They all turned abruptly to the door, tension thickening the air once again. Who could that be now? And would this new arrival change everything once again? When the door swung open again, Sarah's heart raced. Was it her father? Or someone else from the past that could throw their fragile moment into upheaval? But standing in the doorway was a woman with familiar features and a cautious smile that sent a jolt through Sarah. Emma? Jack stepped forward, the shock clear in his voice. The woman looked just as surprised to see him. What are you doing here? Emma, Sarah's estranged aunt, hesitated at first, her eyes darting to the room's inner tension. I heard, from a neighbor, that there might be something happening here. Her gaze flickered between Sarah and her mother. I thought I might check in. Sarah's pulse quickened. After years of silence, Emma's sudden appearance felt like a tidal wave crashing into her surfacing secrets. What do you want, Emma? She found herself asking, wonder and resentment intertwined in her voice. I came to talk, Emma said quietly. She took a step inside, but Sarah remained rooted in place. I know things have been rough with Dad's absence. I wanted to help. I'll bet you did, her mother said sharply, breaking the tense quiet. You abandoned us just like he did. Emma's face fell, pain reflected in her eyes. I didn't abandon anyone. I just didn't know how to help. No one wanted your help then, Sarah said, her voice trembling just enough for her fury to come through. The weight of unresolved grievances hung in the room like a thick fog. Jack shifted closer to Sarah, his hand reassuring against her back. Please, Emma said, her voice cracking slightly. I know I can't change the past, but I learned things about your father, things you deserve to know. The air thickened again. Sarah's heart pounded as the old wounds her mother had just begun to scratch reopened. Why now? She said, almost whispering. Why come back after all these years? I was scared. Emma looked into Sarah's eyes, vulnerability seeping from her every pore. But I regret not being there for you when you needed family most. I know you've experienced so much hurt because of your father's choices. It's time to set things right. Jack's hand on Sarah's back pressed a little harder, urging her to remain steady. Truth didn't seem to have a specific timeline. How could she trust someone who had evaporated from her life? I'm not asking for forgiveness, Emma continued, but I can tell you what I know. There's a lot more to his story than I'm sure your mother has shared with you. Please. But why should we believe you now? Sarah asked, betrayal lacing her words. What if you're just here to make everything worse? Because I care even if it doesn't seem like it. Emma's voice grew more determined. You don't have to trust me, but you deserve to hear the truth about your dad. It might help you make sense of all the madness surrounding you. Around them, the house felt like it held its breath, the past hovering heavy overhead. Sarah glanced at her mother, whose expression reflected a mix of anxiety and anger. The question loomed large in her mind. Could they handle more revelations? With a deep breath, she squared her shoulders. "What do you know?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper, but the decision was made. This had gone too far for secrets to remain buried any longer. Emma opened her mouth to respond, but just then, the phone rang loudly, shattering the moment. Sarah looked toward the device, dread pooling in her stomach as it continued to ring. Who could be calling at a time like this? And what other secrets might spill out before the night was through? The tension in the air felt electric, and each ring of the phone sent Sarah's heart racing. She glanced at her mother and Emma, both of their faces etched with anticipation. "Should I get that?" she asked, unsure if answering would bring more chaos or clarity. "Maybe it's important," Jack suggested, his voice gentle and even, as he maintained his supportive stance beside her. Taking a deep breath, Sarah stepped to the side and answered the call, her heart pounding like a drum. "Hello? Sarah, it's Mrs. Thompson," came the familiar voice, warm yet urgent. "I hope I'm not interrupting anything, but I wanted to share something with you. It's about the community project." Instantly, Sarah found herself wrestling with the weight of her emotion. "Mrs. Thompson, now is not the best time. I understand, dear, but listen. The council member reached out to me after seeing all the energy at the diner. They said they'd be willing to fast-track the proposal if we have a solid plan. They want results." A rush of hope filled Sarah's chest, but in the backdrop, secrets loomed large, the family turmoil swirling just moments away. "That is amazing." But she hesitated, glancing back at her family, their faces rife with unspoken tension. "I'll need to speak with everyone first. I'm here if you need any support, okay?" "I believe in what you're doing," Mrs. Thompson assured her, igniting a flame within her. "You've sparked a movement, Sarah, but only if you're ready to take the next step." Determination washed over Sarah. "Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. I will." She hung up, her heart racing, the burden of her family drama fading momentarily in light of the urgency of the community project. "Everyone," she began, turning once more to the group that stood at a crossroads between past pain and future possibility. "The proposal might go through faster than we thought. Mrs. Thompson just told me the council is willing to give us a real chance." The air shifted, each face lighting up with hope and enthusiasm, the very spark she sought to ignite in them. "But," Sarah added, holding up a hand to temper their excitement, "we need to finalize our proposal. We have to work together." Jack smiled, his eyes sparkling with pride. "Let us do it. We create the dream together." "And what about the past?" Emma interjected, her voice shaky but filled with sincerity. "You all deserve to have those answers. I can help if you want. I know things that could help shed light." A wave of silence swept through the room as the weight of her words settled deep. The chance of discovering truths mingled with the idea of what Sarah could forge moving forward. "Maybe blending both," Sarah suggested slowly, "can help us heal. If we tackle the project while also facing the past, maybe we can finally move forward." "Are you sure?" Emma asked quietly, searching Sarah's eyes as if trying to gauge her resolve. With newfound determination and trust in her heart, Sarah nodded. "I'd rather face the truth than keep ignoring it. This isn't just for me. It's for Emily, our community. We owe it to ourselves." Jack beamed at her courage, urging her on. "So, let us gather everyone who wants to help with both sides creating the proposal and looking inward. We need support." Before anyone could speak, Sarah felt a sudden swell of energy around her. It was a fusion of hope and healing, reaching out to the community that had already begun to rally behind their dreams. The plan would take collaboration, but she could finally feel the pieces coming together. "Meeting tomorrow morning at the diner?" she suggested, her voice stronger. "We can outline our proposal and hear what everyone knows about my father. Let us peel back the layers together." "Count me in," Jack said readily, throwing Sarah a look that conveyed warmth and unwavering support. The atmosphere shifted, currents of excitement and anticipation danced in the air, weaving through them all. Emma stepped forward. "I can be there too. I want you to know everything I know and help you unravel your dad's story." As Sarah looked around at all their faces, each dotted with unease but steady courage there. Determination exhilarated her. It was time to redefine not just her family's legacy, but their community too. "Let us get to work," she said, her heart pounding with a blend of fear and eagerness. In that moment, as each person in the room found their voice and place in either the past or the future, Sarah realized this wasn't just about her anymore. It was about repairing broken threads, weaving them together into something vibrant and beautiful. And as they gathered their energies, fueled by hope, Sarah understood. Through healing wounds and nurturing the dreams of tomorrow, they were building something lasting. Her mother, her aunt, and Jack, all standing together, it felt like everything was coming together at last. Hope began to shine through the darkness, a promise of what was yet to come. Take this moment to breathe and imagine a community thriving, dreams igniting with every heartbeat, the potential shimmering like stars in the night sky. They were not just waiting for bright tomorrows, they were going to create them. And if you felt that spark of hope kindle in you too, then you need to subscribe now to witness every exclusive story that unfolds in this remarkable journey. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep us moving forward. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about this. Ending your voice matters. And for the true fans out there, share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation unfold. Don't wait not even one more second. This is the moment to show your support.